This is the Dover Download Podcast. My name is Christopher Parker, and for the past 25 years, I've had the pleasure of working with, learning from, and talking to a variety of volunteer, staff, and community members. This podcast explores conversations, activities, and a variety of policies and programs which exist here in Dover to improve the community in one way or another. If you have had the benefit of being in downtown Dover over the past couple of years, you have seen the work of Deb Clough and her volunteer groups, probably the most dedicated non-athletics volunteers we have here in the city. And Deb, I am amazed, actually found time to sit down with us today to talk about all her efforts and to talk about how she's going to celebrate Earth Day coming up in the month of April. So Deb, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Chris?
Good. Am I right? You've got to be wall to wall busy.
I am.
Especially
really.
now spring is here.
Definitely. This is the best time of year to pick up litter, actually. So it's a very busy month.
I would postulate that there's never a bad time to pick up litter, but particularly now, why do you say that it's the best time?
It's just that the snow has melted and all of a sudden everyone's looking around saying, oh my gosh, we have a lot of litter. And the truth is the litter has been there all along. It's just we haven't seen it. So as the snow melts, it reveals.
Camouflage.
Yeah, for sure.
So walk us through why we're talking today. What's going on?
So I appreciate you having me in. The reason I'm here today is because I wanted to let folks know we are having our second annual Power of an Hour. It's a 1-hour volunteer litter collection event throughout the city of Dover, and we organize it by ward. So last year we did it for the first time, and we had 283 volunteers pick up over a ton of litter in 1 hour. Which, I'm sure a lot of people know this. I didn't, but a ton is 2,000 pounds. So when you think about the average weight of like a fast food bag or a soft drink cup, that's pretty impressive.
Right. Yeah, I remember participating that day, and it was great to see so many people with grocery bags or garbage bags or whatever they were using to collect, and then bring it to the various sites. How does it work? What does someone expected to do, or how do they get the trash to you?
So what happens is we have people arrive at their respective ward. So Dover has 6 wards, and Ward 1 is Francis G. Hopkins Elementary School on Horn Street. Ward 2 is the Dover Ice Arena. Ward 3 is Woodman Park Elementary School. Ward 4 is Garrison School. Ward 5 is Dover Middle School, and Ward 6 is the Hellenic Center. So what we do is we ask volunteers to dress, with sensible walking shoes, bright colors, to bring their gloves, and to show up at their ward by 9:15 is probably a good time because we want a few minutes just to have people sign in. And if they've not ever participated in a Don't Trash Dover walk, we ask them to just sign a waiver for the city. And then we provide bags to participants, and they go off wherever they want in their ward to pick up litter. We do ask that they come back a few minutes before 10:30. At that time, we're all going to help each other. And that's really what happens. People are arriving with their bags filled, overflowing in some cases with litter. And we consolidate all that litter into blue New Hampshire, the Beautiful bags, which are provided for disposal of public litter. And then we tie up all the bags. We get behind them, we take a group photo. The 3 wards that have the second most, and the third most participants actually are going to win a very coveted trash trophy. Those are really fun. Last year we had some really unique trophies, and we'll have some again this year. I'm currently in the process of designing those, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a really great event. We have people from, littles to olds, and everyone in between.
So is the goal to get people out, or is the goal to collect trash? Is it a quantity versus quality?
I feel like it's such a great thing because it's social. It's a great opportunity to meet people. Because it is organized by ward, we really encourage our city councilors to come out for the event. And they're meeting, people in some cases may be meeting their city councilor for their first time. Yeah. I think it improves communication, but it's just such a fun thing, and it's a productive thing. Yeah. And because we're focused on a single task, it's really productive. I mean, it's so incredible when you see what people can do with just a short amount of time. And when you multiply that times hundreds of people, it's It's really quite impressive.
So you mentioned fast food bags, and I'm assuming those cigarette containers, beverage containers, those are pretty common.
Oh, yeah.
Is that typically what people will bring with them, or are there larger items as well? Do you advise them to just to do manageable hand-sized objects, or is it really to clean up anything you see?
So what we did last year, and it works really well for dangerous things, but also really big things, is we will advise participants to set their camera phone on a setting that allows the coordinates for the location to be recorded attached to the photo. So when participants are out there, let's say they encounter a sofa, no one's going to be hauling back a sofa to their ward. They can take a picture of it. And with the coordinates, then we can provide that to community services and say, hey, we have a sofa out on blah, blah, blah road, and it needs to be picked up. And obviously, a sofa is pretty easy to see. So they wouldn't really need the coordinates as much as maybe a needle, And I actually just spoke to a couple of people this morning from recovery organizations that were available last year, and they'll be available again this year, so that no one who shouldn't be handling syringes or trained to will need or should pick them up.
I remember last year, one of the things that I found, I was walking along the Chico River, was an inner tube, like a floaty tube type. So I think, to your point, there's everything and anything that could be found, particularly if it's been buried by snow.
Exactly.
Something that people will come across. One of the takeaways I had from last year, and it changed my habits, and I hope it changed others, was it is a low effort, high reward activity to carry a trash bag with you when you're out walking. So it doesn't take much effort to see something. And, we always hear the see something, say something adage at the airport or a larger event. If you see something, do something, pick it up. We provide trash cans throughout the community. Sometimes they're used, sometimes they're not. But I think one of the real takeaways for me, and I know other people I spoke with that benefited from the event, said that you helped ingrain in them that it takes no effort to carry a grocery bag, for lack of a better term. And as you're walking along, whether you created the waste or not, pick it up, because we all benefit.
Right. I have heard that in the past. People say, well, I didn't drop it, so why should I pick it up? And I think, well, you may not have dropped it, but you're going to have to walk by it or look at it every single day if you don't pick it up. And that's life.
Right. What's the better outcome? Grumbling and saying someone should deal with that, or dealing with it?
Or taking the time to get on and go to a portal and report it when you could just fix it yourself in 1/10 of the time it would take to ask someone else to deal with it.
Yeah, that actionability and that accountability, I think, is one of the things that really makes this program stand out. And I think it's important to also speak to the fact that while this is an annual event now, it's not your only litter cleanup, and it's not the opportunity for a listener to do cleanup.
Right.
Can you talk about it in the bigger picture?
Sure. So actually, April this month will mark 7 years of monthly year-round litter collection walks. And so until last year, April of last year, we only met once a month for the 1 hour, and we depart from a different location each month. So for example, last weekend, we had our March Don't Trash Dover walk, and we departed from Henry Law Park. And I was just so shocked that we had over 50 people, probably closer to 55 people show up. It was our biggest monthly that we've had. It was astounding. And these over 50 people went off in different directions and picked up litter and came back about 50 or 55 minutes later with overflowing bags, and we consolidated everything. And when all was said and done, we had filled 28 bags with litter in that 1 hour. And it's just amazing. And we do this every month. And of course, some months you have a smaller group than others. Sometimes it could be 8 people, sometimes it could be 20, sometimes it might be 50 or over. But it's just the consistency of the program that I love, because I feel like asking people for 1 hour a month is not asking too much. No matter how busy a person is, most people have an hour to give. And even if they can't come to the group because, I've had people say, well, I work retail, I always work Saturday mornings, I can never come. I think that doesn't mean you can't help.
Right.
take a walk, take a bag. I have a friend, Lisa, and that's her mantra. Take a walk, take a bag. And it's such a simple thing. You don't have to do it with a group. If you want to, great. We love to have you. And if you can't and you want to do it independently, that matters just as much. It moves the needle. We all have a part that we can play. I've had people tell me they have, a physical issue that prevents them from picking up trash. They may have difficulty bending or whatever. And I think, well, I would still like you to participate. Would you come and help get people off, help get them off with the bag or, give them a waiver to complete or take pictures of people as they're coming and going. There are different ways for people to be involved. And I am very welcoming in that way because I just think, some is good and more is better. I'm grateful for those we have, but I'd love for other people to get involved too.
Well, I think that the mission is great. The way you do the operations are great, the targeted effect, but also the open-ended, do it on your own. The message is great. One message I want to make sure we get out, though, is the time, date, and meeting location. So if you want to run through those one more time, I think that's a good summary here.
Okay, excellent. So the event is on Saturday, April 26th. The event itself runs from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. I do run a tight ship, and I'm going to require my site leaders to do the same. So we would ask that people arrive certainly by 9:15. We do take a group photo at the end. We do this every month for 7 years, and we're not going to stop now. It's a lot of fun. We get a group photo with all the litter that was collected during the hour prior. The ward locations, just to repeat that, are Ward 1 is Francis G. Hopkins Elementary School on Horn Street. Ward 2 is the Dover Ice Arena on Portland Avenue. Ward 3 is Woodman Park Elementary School, 11 Toll Avenue. Ward 4 is Garrison School on Garrison Road. And Ward 5 is Dover Middle School on Daly Drive. And Ward 6 is the Hellenic Center on Long Hill Road. So again, we would ask volunteers to come in their brightest clothing, reliable walking shoes because you're going to be doing some walking, and definitely bring gloves. If you have a litter grabber tool or a wagon, bring it. A lot of people are like, I don't know about the wagon. And then they use the wagon and they're like, I got to have a wagon. It's great. I mean, sometimes you do, your bag gets heavy or you find something like a tire and it's just really handy to have it. Plus you look cool walking around with a wagon.
And that's what it's about, looking cool. So just to make sure, for those engaged members of the listening public, they already picked up on this, but this is your voting location. Mm-hmm. So if you're not sure where these locations are, where you went to vote in the last election is where you're going to go to help pick up trash. And Deb, I can't thank you enough for the activities you've organized here and the volunteerism you help with the community. You are definitely a community leader in getting the word out and getting people out. And we appreciate you coming in today and talking with us about this wonderful event.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was really a pleasure to be here, and I thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
We're winding down the first quarter of 2025 with a chat with Erin Bassegio of the Planning Department and Brian Early of Media Services to learn what, if anything, happened here in the city of Dover this past month. Erin, you got to host the planning board this past second meeting of March. What happened there or at the first meeting?
I sure did. So yeah, they had two meetings. I'll start with the first meeting, which I did not staff. But at the first meeting at the beginning of March, they approved an extension request at 47 Chestnut Street. This is the project that had been previously approved. It's 173 residential units and commercial space. An extension was approved previously. So this is the second extension that has been approved by the board. As a condition of the approval, the board said this would be the final extension that they'd be granting.
In this project, I think, if I understand correctly, there's some, obviously financing is at play because the way that the finance world has changed. But I also understand there's still some logistics to be worked out from a constructability standpoint and the overall vision of the project.
That's what they've reported to the board and that they included in the application. If new proposals or concepts come forward as part of this project, we will, of course, keep everyone informed, and the board will certainly be seeing that.
Great.
The board also approved a conditional use permit, 33.5 6th Street. This was to request relief from the CBD zoning for a second unit. They also approved a CUP and site plan at Industrial Park. This was previously heard by the Conservation Commission because there were some wetland buffer impacts, but this is for a seasonal automobile storage facility that will be constructed at the site.
And that went to the zoning board recently, too, didn't it?
It did, and they had
trifecta.
all three. They had a special exception approved by the zoning board for the use at the site. It's also amendment season. The board heard a presentation on potential amendments to Chapter 153, which is site review, Chapter 157, which is land subdivision, and 170, which is zoning. Oh, and the TDR subcommittee was formed at that meeting. Members have determined their first meeting will be April 7th, so that meeting will be reported during the next podcast. And at the board's second meeting of the month, which I covered, the board approved a minor subdivision at 39 County Farm Road, as well as a lot line adjustment and a minor subdivision on Middle Road. That involved a handful of lots, also on Isaac Lucas. The adjustments involved all of those lots there. And part of the subdivision was that a large piece of the property that was being subdivided is going to conservation, which is pretty exciting.
Great.
And finally, the recommended amendments that I just mentioned for Chapter 153 and 157 were approved.
And that is the site and subdivision regulations.
Correct. Chapter 170, which is zoning, the board will hear more about that in coming months, particularly with the TDR subcommittee meeting. So that was not up for potential adoption by the board.
Brian, you have waited patiently to tell us what the city council has done over the past month.
Well, much of the city council's focus in March was their review of the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget. During the month, they held 2 budget workshops and a public hearing. At the March 5th workshop, the council received presentations from police, fire and rescue, recreation, and planning departments. At the March 19th workshop, the council received departmental budget presentations from community services, library, and information technology. The budget, of course, includes the school department's budget, and at the school board's March meeting, they recommended revisions to their budget they adopted in January following new revenue and appropriation projections. Their recommended budget adjustments would reduce their amount by nearly $2.3 million, bringing their budget within the city's tax cap calculation. This year's budget cycle is actually now complete, with the city council adopting their fiscal year 2026 budget at a special meeting on April 2nd. The budget passed unanimously, coming in $2,482 below the tax cap. Before the special meeting, the city council held their last budget workshop where they shaped the budget into its final form, which included accepting the school board's budget revision recommendations. Detailed budget information, including video recordings of all the meetings, workshops, and presentation slides, are posted to the FY 2026 Budget Revealed website. Look for the Budget Revealed button on the city's homepage to be taken right to it. The Budget Revealed webpage also has the recent budget-focused Dover Download podcasts, sort of a Cliff Note edition of the budget presentations. In other news, the City Council in March authorized the seasonal paving contract. The list of streets slated to be paved this season is posted on the city's engineering page. You can find it easily by using the search term paving on the homepage search bar. Councilors Cullen and Nemeth provided a status update on the Dover High School Athletics Complex project at the March 26 meeting, noting the Joint Building Committee members are updating the plans they presented last year, with more to come this spring. And that's all I have.
You know, one of the interesting aspects of the 26th meeting was the paving conversation, because some residents got up at the public forum and talked about the need to embrace bike lanes and bike infrastructure. And while that is not necessarily part of the paving, that would be part of the striping bids that we would do on top of the new paving. It was good because it gave the city manager an opportunity to talk to the bike ped plan that staff had worked on and that the TAC is going to be reviewing at its May meeting. So it was a good reminder that we are a multimodal community and that we do value not just cars and trucks, but people that are walking and riding bikes on our streets and sidewalks as well. Erin, anything else you want to throw up from the planning world?
I got a few things. The master plan steering committee met. They're working on the update of the land use chapter. They met at the beginning of the month. This was their second meeting, And the steering committee and staff are working with Resilience Planning, again, as our consultant partner. They worked on the vision chapter and some other previous chapters of the master plan for the city. And they presented on just some initial feedback on their GIS and document analysis that they're doing for the project. We'll be starting outreach soon for that project, so we'll be sharing more to come. We did have an initial outreach event in March at the Horn Street School. We got to present to some students and get their feedback on what they'd like to see in the community, so that was a lot of fun. And we'll have more for adults, too. And the Conservation Commission met. They reviewed and endorsed an application for a CUP for wetland buffer impacts at 512 6th Street. This is a project. 5 single-family homes are proposed for the site, and TDR was already approved for the site, and now the site plan and CUP will go on to planning board at their first April meeting. The Energy Commission had a busy meeting this month. They talked about some of their ongoing projects, like the proposed wastewater treatment facility solar project. They had a site walk recently, so they spoke about that at the meeting. They also talked about updates for the planned energy savings performance contracting. The city is currently accepting bids for energy savings companies to work with us on that project. And they heard a presentation from the Hillsborough Area Renewable Energy Initiative about community-driven solar projects.
Well, that's great. Brian had mentioned earlier that this podcast, as well as other budget presentations, were available on demand on the city's website. In addition to those, you can find videos from any of these meetings we covered today, as well as backup materials as part of our archiving through the website. We encourage you to keep being active and engaged, and have a great day. Thanks for listening to the Dover Download this week. If you like what you heard, subscribe through your favorite podcast aggregator. And if you have something you want to hear a topic on, let us know. Finally, this is just one of the many ways we share information about the city of Dover. You can subscribe to the Dover Downloads email newsletter every week, or other newsletters that we have, by going to the City of Dover homepage, www.dover.nh.gov. Have a great week.